Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Friday, the 29th of August, 2025. Today is day 692. Updates from the Middle East, particularly Gaza and Palestine in the last 24 hours. In Gaza, hundreds of staff workers at the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, on Wednesday wrote to ask him, asking for a clear and public position describing the Gaza war and the genocide. This was according to a letter that was seen by Reuters. In the letter, the staff said that they consider the legal criteria for genocide to have been met in the Israel-Hamas war. A UN spokesperson said that Turk has the full support of the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and that labeling of an event as genocide is up to competent legal authorities. Israeli forces have killed at least 16 people across the Gaza Strip yesterday, according to medics locally. Separately, the International Committee for the Red Cross, a spokesperson, said that 31 patients, mostly from gunshot wounds, were admitted to the Red Cross field hospital in the south of Gaza in Rafah. The quote, little bit more food. I talked about this in my weekly update yesterday. The little bit more food that's coming into Gaza is not nearly enough for what is needed to be done in order to prevent widespread starvation. The World Food Programme's executive director said that this week. Separately, McCain said that she's the executive director of the World Food Program. She said that personally, she's met mothers and children who are starving in Gaza, and that she spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu about increasing the flow of aid. I'll give more updates about potential ceasefire agreements, what's happening in Israel related to Gaza, in my update tomorrow and in the days ahead. I wanted to talk a little bit about Lebanon. The UN Security Council yesterday unanimously voted to end the deployment of a UN peacekeeping force. This is probably UNIFIL specifically in South Lebanon at the end of the year. Lebanese officials last year called for the force to remain in the territory, saying that the country's cash-strapped army does not have the resources to patrol the area on its own. Other Middle East updates, a federal judge yesterday rejected Saudi Arabia's attempt to dismiss a lawsuit that was brought forward by families of 9/11. They alleged the Saudi government agents provided an essential support network for the hijackers during September 11th. The judge ruled that although the doctrine of sovereign immunity would ordinarily prevent a foreign government from being sued in U.S. courts, the lawsuit could still proceed due to a carve-out law that Congress passed in 2016 to enable suits related to the attack. He also found that the plaintiffs made a plausible cause that high-ranking Saudi officials working with the United States, or in the United States at least, provided assistance to hijackers in making connections with their official duties. Also, in terms of international news, the British government barred Israeli officials from participating in the UK's biggest defense trade show due to the Israeli government's decision to further escalate its military operation in Gaza. So this was just confirmed today. So Israeli officials have been barred from participating in the UK's biggest defense trade show. It's important to know that Israel sells a lot of their weapons, like drones and things like that. So it's a huge deal that they were barred from this gathering in the UK. Related to the United States, I wanted to follow up a little bit about the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. I talked about this previously. They rejected a resolution to suspend the U.S. military aid to Israel, and this has been dividing the Democratic Party. This is a very big deal. They rejected a proposed resolution that called for the suspended U.S. military aid to Israel. This was just in a meeting last week in Chicago. This was a litmus test to where the Democratic Party is in relation to withholding offensive weapons or specific weapons from Israel because of what's happening in Gaza. Now, our staff and head of DC office informed me that our understanding is there's two resolutions that the DNC considered. One was an an arms embargo, presented by the more activist contingent, and another one was introduced by the DNC chair, Ken Martin, which was viewed as a more middle-of-the-road, reaffirming the two-state solution, using ceasefire language. The arms embargo failed, and it sounds like due to a hoopla or division within the party, Martin ended up withdrawing his resolution and agreed to appoint a task force that would discuss how to best proceed on Israel-Palestine to come up with recommendations at a later date. I know Jim Zogby of the Arab American Institute was at that gathering in Chicago, and so we're eager to hear a readout from him. I don't have an update about Christians in the Middle East today, except to say continue to be in prayer and don't give up in your efforts. May God go before us in the name of Christ. Amen.